Now I will tell you, when he feels off balance, he starts jumping. And so you'll get used to having him in the where he needs to be as far as the sort of sweet spot. Plus we didn't specifically say go over his bed, So if you tell him where you want him to go, that helps. But now try to come back, Stacy.
Okay.
Let's put the belt on while we got you up real quick here. So if you hold onto the belt, that'll kind of put you in proximity to him. And then just turn your foot inward like you were doing right there. And then down real slow. It just takes finding what works the best for the two of you. That's the biggest thing, Watching us do it when he and I have done it probably a couple hundred times versus you being on your second rep, this isn't interacting with your dad the way you normally would. So,
I'm with 10 shots.
that might get him over there. Right. He might not land.
Or random sleeping.
Right. So, let's do just a tiny little bit of the stepping, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back you up.
Okay.
So we're going to take a couple steps forward and then sit at the foot of the bed, okay? I'm going to leave it kind of like that. Quick stand. So we're going to sit right here.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to make you take a few steps.
Okay.
So you're up. So when he's walking, the sequence is always walker, right, weak leg, or strong leg. So in his case, right leg, left leg. So the walker's out there. We're going to pull that foot forward a little bit. I'm going to crowd him a little bit just to block his knee and then have him step, okay? Walker. You can cue him like this. See how he's bringing it forward some? Set it there, block the knee, and step. Start to pivot. Now draw that foot back, Stacy. There you go. Reach for the bed now. Reach for the bed.
Okay.
I'm not going to let you just go. There you go. So it's just like that transfer. You're just giving him, if you get right up where I just put my foot kind of right here along his heel. But see how I'm giving you just a little bit of weight shift? So we're just offloading him a little bit. And you can make sure it's there. Now, for me, providing this support is absolutely about the comfort zone that you'll establish. What works for you? I'm just dipping in and locking his knee a little bit while he takes that step. Something other than that might work better for you. It's just gonna have to be sort of found a little bit. But if that makes sense, close. I mean like right here. Very little bad can happen when there's no distance between the two of you, okay? Space is room to fall, okay?
Yes.
And if he starts to fall, then you're gonna be like here, and you're gonna try to save him, and it's gonna potentially strain you back, okay? Which we don't want. So, let's go over there towards the couch, okay?
Oh, joy.
See,
That
every time you
couch
go
is
to
a little
stand-
low, though.
It is.
Okay.
I agree. Where are you supposed to be pushing from? That'll work. Okay? So walker. Walkers, I'm going to explain this, so I'm going to make you do it painstakingly slow. Always going to come out to the back legs even with his furthest toe. Okay? Then we're going to slide that foot forward. We're going to block him. Okay? Walker. See how he's bringing that leg forward more now than he was? Okay, one more step forward and then we're going to turn. We'll walk. Take that leg forward. There you go. We'll block. Now you're going to bring the walker through the middle towards your wife. Okay? So we're just going to pivot around and we're going to sit right there. Okay? Which is the worst possible place to sit on this sofa, but we're going to do it anyway. Alright? Now you can't jump into there like Fonzie, okay? You're going to have to back up, okay?
Okay.
There you go. Now reach back. Come down soft. Okay?
Do you feel normal now?
Yeah.
So glad to be out of that chair.
Yeah.
All right,
Now we get to go back to the chair.
now we're going back over to the chair.
Yep.
Now you're sitting on a good low surface, so your two options for getting up have got to either be pushing off of that,
Yeah.
or the lower handle is your other option, okay?
Okay.
From that height though, it's pretty low, so you're probably gonna be better off pushing from there.
Yeah.
If you're helping him up from this spot, I'm gonna get right up around this weak leg, just so if I have to, I can provide him a little bit of support. And I'm gonna get the gait belt and I'm gonna encourage him to lean way forward to push up. You ready?
All right.
Forward and go.
That was smooth.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting that, and you still running your video?
Yes, sir.
Nose over toes is the mantra that we use, okay? So we're rocking forward because bringing your nose out over your toes takes the weight of your trunk and it gets it off of your butt, okay? So it's creating a little bit of a momentum to come up and offload your hips. All right, walker, right foot, left foot. Walker, walker. Right leg kick. Right there, left. Walker. Okay.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Okay, bring the walker through the middle. Towards me. Now we're gonna swivel your left heel. Yes, sir. Now we'll start closing the distance. Okay, you can keep wiggle walking, that's fine. But before you sit, tall, and we're gonna draw that right foot back, right there. Give him a little bit of support at the knee, and then reach for the chair. And come down. So much of what's being done with that right leg is happening with tall posture, okay? Your leg is only so long, so if we draw you up tall, then we're pulling all the slack out of it, so that little bit of muscle movement that he actually has is able to be taken advantage of. If he's crouchy, then it's hard to advance that leg that's kind of folded, so you're gonna have to do way more of it if he's not standing tall. So if we can get him and encourage him to use that walker and draw himself up tall, that's why you see me pushing up on his shoulder a little bit, so we're drawing up all the slack out of that right leg. So if he's in this walker out in front of him and we pull him up, well, just through the leg length itself, it's going to start coming forward. Then you're just gliding it forward with your foot and then blocking the knee a little bit when he's in stance on the weak side, and then letting him come through. Now, things that you could watch for, and I know I said walking is not a very functional task, but there may be tight spaces at home that require you to have him take a step or two, which is why I'm showing you that.
Mm-hmm.
If he is not advancing the walker far enough, okay, now if it's in tight spaces like we were over here, you saw me turn the walker like this is acceptable also. Pull it here, so he's bringing that follow-up step through and just into the frame of the walker a little bit.
Yeah, that will be good for when I get him in bed.
Yes, ma'am. Bedrooms and sometimes in the bathroom, it's kind of necessary to turn the walker this way. But the sequence still remains the same. It's walker, weak leg, strong leg.
Good.
Now, what I was getting to when I said that is things will not seem like they're happening the way they're supposed to if he short steps it with his left foot. So we use a phrase, step through, not to, okay? So we want him to step through the middle and not to his other foot.
Come through, baby.
See how my hips, I'm still laggy, I'm like tippy backwards if I don't step past my stance foot. So when he's stepping, we want him to step up and through, because if you think of your stance leg like a pole vaulter's pole, if you step two, you never make the full vault, you never come up and over the top. So through is up and over, okay? Which is what we want, which is lets us transition our center of gravity and our balance through
Okay.
so that we're taking it back out, and then he would naturally want to move the walker because you feel off balance. So then you're back into the same first part of the sequence and then up and through. So if something doesn't seem right, that's the first thing I look for, is that he's taking a short step. He may not feel like, reasons why people take a short step are very often that they don't feel confident, like their weak leg is supported. So if you're not giving him an extended knee, he may do one of those just because it doesn't feel like he can actually take that full step with his left leg. So when we're tall, it draws that right knee straight. So then your job of managing a little bit of knee support is a lot easier to get him to do that. You've heard me use the phrase that he loses his hip and trunk control.
Yes.
That also contributes sometimes to that short step because we're not stacking him up tall and keeping these muscles activated when he steps through. You saw when I was walking with him,
You were
how
holding him
I
up.
cupped around his low back and his waist, and I supported him a little bit. I'm giving him a little bit of a lift so he's tall when he's stepping through. That makes him feel like he's not going to do this.
Right.
When he's tired, that happens a lot more. He'll start bucking forward because he's fatiguing in that hip and low back. So,
And that's when I need to get him sat down.
certainly, sitting down, that's when you need to, if you're identifying that, trips of necessity need to be the shortest possible distance at that point, because as he starts to tire out, the risk for something bad happening in standing, nothing bad's going to happen sitting in that wheelchair, unless the house catches on fire. Okay?
No.
And in that case,
All bets are off.
just push him out the door. Okay.
Fireman carry.
Give him a helmet, whatever.
Oh, he's getting a helmet. Andy said so. You get a helmet.
Oh, Tim said so.
Oh, was it Tim?
I think it was Tim, yeah.
One of the boys said so.
But if you can stack him up tall, even when he's tired, I'm going to show you the worst case scenario
Oh, please, God.
transfer. Okay?
Oh, dear God.
Not like I'm not going to make him fall.
Jeff,
But-
could you move that over there so I
That
have,
table?
yeah, that table, so I can get better. Yeah, the tribe will love this.
So the walker won't fit, whatever. Put it stand. He's not standing up tall. Whatever reason, things aren't going well. You see how close I am to him now?
Mm-hmm.
My feet are around his foot, okay? Just like that.
Just
We're
like
gonna
that.
pivot and sit on the bed, grab a hold of my elbow, just like that. So now we're locked together. If you can see where his grabbing a hold of me, how that puts the two of us
Yep.
very surely together. Now I just want you to pivot and sit. So I'm gonna keep him just super tall and just take my feet and just keep crowding him. Now I haven't given him any distance.
Oh, I like this dance.
Okay, now just fold and sit. Reach back. So, almost like you would be moving a statue if you had to. So just real tight and set him down. That's if it's not going well, okay? If he's hurrying, sometimes he hurries through the pivot and he's too far away from what he's trying to sit on. Well, and he's like here, well then you're gonna wanna hug him back up and then just kind of weight shift and shuffle those feet backwards. If that makes sense, okay? So it's a little bit of a dance, but
And you'll be doing the dance. I don't think I'm going to be able to stand long enough for that.
like me, you have this.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, up and kind of bumping them helps. So you kind of use your belly as a third appendage, so to speak, which helps you kind of have a little bit of control over what his trunk's doing. So if you have to, then you can just kind of hug them up close and then just keep bumping them back a little bit with your belly and posture, okay?
Okie dokie.
Okay, walker. Always bring that walker forward. If you're helping him, you too can use the walker for a little bit of balance. If I'm trying to help fish that foot out of there, see how I'm leaning on the walker myself? Then I can block that knee, or you step towards me, Stacy. Or that, okay? tall again, right foot forward, yep. Oop. See how I kind of slipped in there? It slipped past us. We're just giving him a little bit of a knee. Yep, bring the walker towards you now. Good. Now, reach and land.
And smile.
90-degree pivots. Super simple. Getting in and out of the car, in and out of the bathroom, bed to wheelchair. If he's going to sit in a piece of household furniture. I sat him down in the center of this sofa, which is the worst case scenario for sitting on a couch.
He's not going to be on my couch.
Optimally,
Love you, but no.
if you're sitting on something or you're somewhere where you don't have any other seating options, close to
Like
the
his
left
parents'
armrest.
house.
Yeah, we want him as close to the armrest so that he's not. If he's in the middle and it's real low and spongy, then he's going to be wallowing around like a turtle on his back trying to get out. So we want to be able to be, so even if he sat in the middle, I would just help him scoot down to the end where he can use that armrest to help impact. Now, the things that you and I do to normally get up and be balanced, he's not always you're gonna have to manage that foot. So he may have that leg way out here. Well, if that leg's out here and he starts to stand, it's like a kickstand, keeping him from getting up. So we always want to make sure that we tuck those feet back. We use the phrase forward tibial angle, or we want your shin bones tipped forward, okay? If they're tipped backwards, well, even if he's pushing himself backwards, okay? So we want your feet tucked back, so as the second your butt comes up, you're over your feet and over that center of gravity. So if the walker's here, then he can make that transition smoothly to the walker. The walker, a one-handed device. This is a hemi walker, a quad cane, and even a single tip cane. All just shift our center of gravity over a little bit towards our good side. So he doesn't have enough stance control to independently hold himself just on that leg by itself. So we're getting him over here where he's spreading it out. And his center of gravity is now kind of over here instead of being right here where it normally would be. That way he's offloaded, so it's easy to get that foot forward. And he's leaning into the walker when he's in stance on the weak side, okay? Does all that make sense?
Yep.
Questions about any of that?
I think we got it.
Okay.
Come through.
That's the biggest thing. And if, like I said, if it's something just doesn't seem right, I promise you the first thing that's probably not happening is that
It's not coming
he's
through.
short-stepping with that left foot. He's just doing a little squatty little crunch. And initially,
That will
you
happen.
heard me reference the wiggle walk. That may be what you have to do to get comfortable, you know, because he can just lean into that walker and then real tall, and you can just help shift him and adjust. And then he can, that's acceptable also. Anything that doesn't result with him on the floor is acceptable, okay? I would say him on the floor and any of you injured, right? Because we really,
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize that enough, that if something doesn't feel safe, it's
Don't do it.
probably not safe.
And
So,
don't do it.
a lot of this has got to be, like I mentioned earlier, an established sort of level of confidence. And it's not, it looks easy because he and I have a lot of repetitions. And I tell every family, you haven't been here for every ugly one we've done, I promise you, okay?
No, I haven't been
And
downstairs
there's
for
been some
that.
ugly ones. So, but it's a finding your way together, because you have to figure out what works best for each of you with him. And once he's established that confidence with you, then it's easier to kind of loosen up a little bit and give him some play to kind of do what he can do. Initially, you're gonna overhelp, it's okay, you know. You love him, you're not here because you don't. You want him to get better. We don't need him hurt along the way, so family members always overhelp at the beginning. So, and overhelp is very easily translated into manhandling him. So, but the
Aw,
more you do
I
it,
like
the
manhandling
more you
him.
can peel back how much you're applying to help him, and he'll have more of his effort. In the beginning, though, you know, till you find some level of comfortability with it, you'll be right up there, you know, we'll hear our nurses who aren't used to seeing him come in and say, oh, well, he was a max assist. Well, that means the caregiver is doing 75% of the effort. There wasn't anything that I did that was even close to even 50-50 of what we just did. So
He did the majority of it.
he's at where we report him to the doctor as being a minimal assistance, which means that we're providing 25 up to 25% of the help. Most of what you see me doing with him is what we refer to as contact guard, which is just steadying, kind of a steadying assistance. Not really any real lifting, but you're just giving him a little cue here or there to be tall. You know, you're verbally cueing him on his positioning, where his foot is, you know, maybe his sequence with the walker. What I was calling out is what we refer to as the sequence with a Hemi walker. So it's walker, weak leg, strong leg. Sometimes if you are not giving him those verbal cues, he gets the sequence a little jumbled. So
Okay.
expressive aphasia is not always just your words. Sometimes it's what he's physically producing as well. You know, he's not that impaired with that, so he knows what's going on. He can help you do just about everything you want him to do, as long as he doesn't have to verbally take you through it step by step. That's where he gets tripped up with his words. So he knows what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And you need to stop them and say, you know, or do the best you can to say that something's not right, okay?
Okay.
Don't let them take you through something that doesn't feel like it's going the way it's supposed to either, you know? So
Okay.
you have a voice, and, you know, even if that voice isn't always the words you want them to be, express yourself any way you can. You know, if they're pushing you off balance, because that's really when you overhelp. The result from his end a lot of times is that he's getting pushed off balance, and that's when things start looking real graspy and desperate, like he's sort of clutching his stuff. So, but like I said, it won't take very long to establish a comfortable routine with helping him with these things and bridge that gap from here to the house and the home health helping him.
Okay.
I ordered him a wheelchair. This one is quite generous in width, so
Yes.
I did not order him with one this big. I ordered
Okay.
him a standard width chair, which is 18 inches. Okay.
That's what this is?
So he is, even if he was a little bigger, he's pretty narrow through the hips. So 18-inch chairs give you the most through your doorways approaches. So I knew we didn't want to be banging around the hallways and scraping our way around corners.
Wouldn't be
so.
no big deal.
But I ordered him a chair and a cushion.
Okay.
This you all will have to try to acquire.
Okay.
Walmart or Amazon. It's like
I can look one
30
up.
bucks. Hemi Walker. Okay. It is super simple.
We'll have that
Prime eligible.
done before we get home.
How's it spelled?
HEMI, just like the
Trucks.
engine. Should go anywhere from 27 to about 32 bucks, depending
You
on.
want 35.
There you go.
And then we can spray paint it for you.
Okay.
Tiger stripes, whatever. The chair-
Stickers.
The chair's a rental, okay?
The chair is a rental.
If you don't want to rent a chair, you can do the same thing on Amazon and Walmart. If you're conscious about insurance, paying like $135 a month to rent it.
Okay.
For like $140, you can buy one.
Actually,
So,
I got this one for 60.
yeah, so I mean, there is a huge range.
The hole in the box.
Yeah, so, you know, you've been playing this game for yourself
Oh, yeah.
long enough at this point. You know where you can find stuff
Oh,
on
yeah.
cheap. You know, but they are gonna continue. I went ahead and asked for the chair for up to 12 months for you, so they're not
Okay.
gonna call you and say, we need our chair back.
Okay.
They're not gonna do that anyway, because they would love for you to forget to call them, because they'll just keep charging your insurance until you probably bought 10 chairs, you know. But
Well, we'll just have it long enough to get a new one.
yes, ma'am. So they, at the duration or the limit of the duration that I wrote down on the request, they'll call you and ask you if you're still using it.
Okay.
If you decide to buy him a chair before then, as soon as you have your chair, you don't want this one anymore, there'll be a sticker on the side of the armrests that has their number, and you call them and say, we need to get you your chair back, and they will come get it.
Nice. We'll get that done as soon as we can.
Questions, concerns?
Nope.
I think we're good because everything that you've shown us, we'll have handrails all over the house.
Sure, and grab
So,
bars
grab bars are,
are,
That's actually reminds me, how high should the railings be?
are you mounting them?
Yes.
Well, a walker or an assisted device, we measure at the greater trochanter of the hip or the break of your wrist, if that makes
Okay.
sense, which is for most people, unless, they've got like orangutan arms, okay? It's about the same spot, okay? So this is your greater trochanter, okay? So if you look to him, we try to make the Hemi walker about that high, and that's a good gauge for what you want. Because then he can use the rail just like he's using the walker, and we do a little bit of rail walking to reestablish confidence and balance and refine what we're doing for the 24.
Right.
I believe that's what we're doing. Right?
Yep.
Just tell me where you take her and I'll meet you there.
Okay.
So that's a good gauge, but for him, it's about the same thing. If you just let your hands hang, my greater trochanter and where my wrist is about the same spot, But that's how we measure walkers, canes, everything is based on that basic. Now we adjust it a little bit because sometimes people just do it better if it's higher or a little bit lower, but that's where we start. So if you're looking for a good generic height, that's where I would go with. You can, if you want to take a tape measure to this, that's probably not a horrible thing. So
I didn't bring
I'll find you one. You give me a minute, I'll go get you a tape measure and we'll just measure it for you. Okay?
okie dokie.
Any questions beyond all that?
It looks good to me.
Like I said, if we can go the simplest pivot distance, you are stacked up for success at the beginning of this. And then the more comfortable you get, the more you can branch out to slightly more advanced things like taking steps and walking, okay?
I like transferring.
All right, let me go get your tape measure and I'll be right back, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.